Hello to everybody. Welcome to our Yin Yoga class. I'm glad to see people here. And we'll just start sitting in a comfortable position for a couple of minutes, just relaxing. And just find a comfortable place for your hands, your arms, just kind of closing your eyes, coming into the present moment. And just noticing your body, how it feels. Feel any tension or tightness. We'll just work on that a little bit. Just relaxing the areas. Sometimes we have tension we don't even know about until we really put our minds to it. Sensations, what you're feeling. And mindfulness like this goes hand in hand with Yin Yoga, because in Yin Yoga, we're going to be holding the poses longer. We're going to be relaxing the muscles and just going into the joints to enhance our range of motion, to lubricate the joints and strengthen them. We have plenty of time going in slowly and holding the poses longer and coming out so that we can just go right back into mindfulness. And when we're relaxing our bodies and relaxing our minds, we're much more able to get into the joints. So just feel yourself, I hope, relaxing into the posture that you're sitting in right now. Very good. Okay, and then we're just going to warm up a little bit. Slowly start to open your eyes. And the props that I have here, I have a blanket. Big towel would work if you don't have a blanket available. I have 3 blocks, and you may or may not need, but in place of blocks, if you don't have those, you can always use a kind of a fat book, and probably maybe 2 would be enough. If you had 3, that would be fine. A strap if you might need it. And I'm sitting on a kind of a soft bolster. So just let's start by bringing our arms out to the side. Hands facing, palms facing up. And then let's start to stretch up a little bit. Arms up over your head. And bring your elbows in the direction of your ears. Nice big stretch. Just feel it coming right up the spine, arms, the fingertips. Maybe bring your fingers together, interlocking, and then bring your palms so they're facing up toward the ceiling. Arms separating your hands now and just coming down and bringing the left hand right down to the floor. Slowly, the right hand comes up over, and then just starting to maybe bend that right elbow and coming in the direction, bringing the right elbow, or it's actually your left elbow, I'm sorry, it's my right elbow, in the direction of the floor. And feel that nice stretch down the right side of your body. And coming back up again. We're going to just bring our arms out to the side, and we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Notice the difference from one side to the other. Was it easier to get your elbow close to the floor on the other side, or is it easier on this side, or maybe there's no difference at all? Just observing your body. Good. Come back. Come back down. And one more time, we're going to bring our arms out to the side, up overhead. And then we start our fingers together, the pointer fingers pointing up toward the ceiling. And then we're just going to start to just go from one side to the other. Trying to keep our shoulders in a line, come back up. And over to the opposite side. And come back. Arms out to the side. And we've gotten ourselves warmed up and ready to go into our yin poses. So the first yin pose, and again, we're going to go very slowly. It's very important to move very slowly because we're going into the joints, the connective tissues, the tendons, the ligaments, and they're not like muscles that stretch easily, more like a credit card texture. So we have to do it very, very slowly. So we'll just start with bringing our legs out in front of us. And we're going to go into the butterfly position. You might want to be sitting on, I have the bolster here. You might want to sit on your blanket, just on the edge, back like this. I'm going to have my blocks ready. Bring them down here. And we're working in the lower back, right, in this position. So just start to bring your feet in slowly. Bring them, have the feet touching each other, the bottoms of the feet, and bring them in as close to your body as works for you. Might want them out a little bit farther, whatever. And the reason I have the blocks here, just in case, if it feels like too much, just having the legs kind of hanging in the air like that. For some people, it might be too much. If it's not, you don't have to have the blocks. But wherever, sometimes some of our knees might be farther up, and you might want to just bring them down lower. And just one little warning, or just one little piece of advice, is that sensation is good. And you know you're working if you feel sensation, but you don't want pain. If you feel pain, either back out somewhat, or instead of backing out, you might have to come out completely if it really is very painful for you. Okay, so sit up nice and tall, and we're going to come forward, and we're going to start by just keeping our spine nice and straight, even the cervical spine that's right along the neck, and just see how far we can come forward. Might be 2 inches, might be 3 inches, might be nothing at all, just coming forward, whatever you can. Then bring those elbows out, and then just start to round your back and coming down. Sometimes people find this too uncomfortable and just put the bolster looks so funny on this. But you just rest your head on a bolster. And just coming forward. And we're going to hold this for about 4 minutes. And some of the times, I'm just setting this now. Some of the time I'll just stay right in the posture with you, and other times I will get back into position to be ready when we move on to the next part. So once again, once you get settled in comfortably, you can just close your eyes and go back to focusing on your body, what you're feeling, mindfulness. And sometimes when we are in these postures, we forget to really keep breathing. So just make sure you're taking nice deep inhales, nice deep exhales. I'm told that if you're feeling like, oh, that's a lot of sensation here, when's it going to be over? Just pretend you're breathing right into that area, because you might be feeling it right in through here in the groin area, as if you're just going to breathe into that area, paying careful attention to it, and just seeing what you're noticing. Lots of times the sensation might become uncomfortable, but it's not pain. We're about halfway through this pose, so just about 2 minutes left. Maybe as the time goes on, you might feel like you can just relax a little bit more into it. You might want to come down a little bit deeper. Maybe not. We've got about 10 more seconds here. We're just going to very slowly, taking our time. Remember, I mentioned we're going to very slowly come out of this. Start to come up and just even push your hands down into the floor to help your body start to come up a little bit at a time. Taking our time, taking our time. And we always do a counter pose, just kind of getting everything back the way it was before, since we've held it for a longer time. So I'm going to move the blocks. If you're using blocks, move the blocks out. And then just, again, very slowly, because you probably feel quite a bit in through here in the groin area too. The lower back. And then I'm going to bring my hands behind my back. And if I'm out sitting on a blanket, I'm going to just put them under the blanket with the fingertips pointing toward the top of the mat. Just do a little bit of a back bend. So I'm kind of throwing my shoulders back, my chest out, and then just start to bring my head back. And then you kind of feel yourself moving back into the position that you were in before. When you're ready, taking your time, just slowly start to come out of it. Come back up. And the next position pose we're going to go into is called the dragon pose. And we're also, it's a hip and a groin, working in the deep hip area and also in the groin area. So what I'm going to do is come around like this. And have your blanket. It's probably a good idea so that you can have your knees, you're going to do it one knee at a time, but have them resting on the blanket, especially if the hard floor right underneath. So I'm going to go like this. Come over like this. And I have my hands just kind of right below my shoulders for now. And I'm going to bring my right foot so that I'm going to move it right up so that my right foot is right inside my right hand. I'm going to move this out of the way just so you can see it a little bit better for now. So I'm going to just bring that foot forward. And I want my knee right above my right ankle. And I'm going to just I lift up that back leg and just start to bring it back as much as I can so I can really feel it in the groin area. So I'm going to really work that pretty hard in through there. Now, if that is a little bit too much stretching for you, you can always put your blocks right here. If you felt that wasn't enough, you could always go like that. the important thing is to have that back leg back as much as you can. Lower, see, I've got it lowered down, and the top of my foot is resting on the floor. So I'm just going to take the blocks away from here. You certainly can use them. I'm just going to stay in this position. And we're going to hold that for about 2 minutes. When we're doing both sides of in a pose, we typically hold them for a little bit less time, or even half the time. So we'll get started. And again, when you get comfortably in the position, it might help you just to close your eyes. Just kind of pay attention to your breath, the breathing, noticing what you're feeling, sensations. And you're really working right into those joints, the fascia, the connective tissue, the tendons, the ligaments, the connective tissues, something that we often neglect. We have about 10 more seconds on this side. We're just going to slowly start to bend that back knee a little bit more. We're going to bring that right leg back so that it's just lined up with the others on the other side. And we're going to go down into the child's pose. And that'll be our counter pose. We'll hold that for about 30 seconds. Slowly start to come back up again. And once again, this time we're going to just bring our left leg up any way that you want to bring it up, any way that works for you. If you want to move your left hand out of the way, if you want to guide it like that, go right ahead. And you bring that left foot right inside the left hand. Move up a little bit more. My knee is above my ankle. And then I'm going to start to bring that right leg back as much as I can. So I'm lowering down this whole area right in through here. I'm just lowering it down as much as I can. Again, if you want to use the blocks, one on each side. And just notice the difference from one side to the other. You just kind of might want to move up and down a little bit just to get that knee back a little bit more if that works. And we're going to hold that for about 2 minutes. So again, get in comfortably into the position. Whatever props you feel that you need, go right ahead. And again, sensation increases. That's okay as long as it's not pain. Sometimes when we're feeling a lot of sensation in one area, if you actually pay attention to your breath and taking a nice deep inhale and deep exhale, and as you're doing it, just thinking as if you're breathing into that area and you're sending the oxygen into that area, seeing if that helps you at all to relieve some sensation. Slowly start to come out of this. Bring that left leg back. And we're going to do the same counter pose, but if you wanted to add a little bit to it, I'll show you. You could just go back into the child's pose, or you could go into child's pose, and then just kind of like all one motion going up into downward facing dog. Not really staying there for any amount of time, just coming back down into child's pose, and back up into downward facing dog. Just do that 1 or 2 more times. And when you're ready, you can come back up into a tabletop pose. And this time we're going to go into the frog. So sometimes it's called tadpole. We're going to bring our feet together in the back and then just start to spread those knees out. And if your blanket is just along the mat, you might want to have it going a little bit wider in case your knees can come out wider, because you want to relax them on the blanket. Now I have my feet back on the mat, but you might even want to do it so that your feet are on the mat too, if they're sensitive. So get yourself into a position. I have my knees. Maybe I should do it this way to show you too. I'll do it both ways. So my feet are together in the back as I showed you before, and then my knees are coming out a little bit. And coming forward, if you wanted to have a bolster, you could just come down on the bolster, or if you feel as though you could just come down And bring your chest down to the floor and your arms out in front of you, just resting like that. Or you could always go like rest like this, or if you needed to, go like that. So take your choice, and maybe you have to move into something as time goes on, whatever you'd like to do. I encourage you that if you can do it so that you are actually working the joints a little bit more, then you're getting more out of it. But we don't want any pain, or we don't want you doing too much so that it'll be bothering you later on. And this one we hold for about 4 minutes. I'm going to just sit this way though. And once again, just noticing what you're feeling. And it's always interesting to find out that one side of the body, it feels very, very different from the other side. And just observing that, just learning more about your body. And also from one class to the next, we might feel very different. And the other thing too is this does not take the place of working the muscles like some other kinds of yoga, or bicycle, or riding, or walking, or jogging, or swimming, or whatever. This is done in addition to, it complements it. And there aren't that many kinds of exercise that we do that we really get deeply into the joints. And that's why we try to relax the muscles so that we can get in deeper. You're probably feeling this in the groin area. About 30 more seconds here. Remember your breathing. And we're coming out of this pose very slowly also. And we're going to go back into child's pose as we did with the other one. So I'm moving my bolster out of the way. And then probably the easiest way is to just press your hands down to the floor and start to bring those knees together. You can separate the feet and bring the knees together. And we're going to go down into a child's pose, bringing our bottoms so that we're coming right down on close to the heels as possible. And then just bring your hands up, arms out in front of you. If you prefer, you can always have your arms along the side of your body. Lots of choices. When you're ready, you can slowly start to come up. And we're going to go into, it's called the melting heart or anahatasana. So I'm going to just move my blanket back this way. I think it'll be a little bit easier to demonstrate this in this position. Maybe even come over a little bit more like that. I like it a little bit thicker here. So, thing that we're going to remember about this pose is we're going to try to have our hips right above our knees when we get into the pose. And it's kind of hard when you're going into this pose knowing where your hips and your knees are. So just kind of think about it a little bit, maybe even feel when you're doing it. So I'm going to have my bolster ready just in case. And so I'm coming up like this, and then I'm going to start to lower my chest down to the floor. I'm going to come out and come down. And again, I'm working on keeping those hips right above the knees and my chest coming down to the floor. Now, that might be too much on your shoulders to bring that chest all the way down to the floor. So if that's the case, see, this is the position. If that's the case, you can always bring that bolster here and come down onto that. And if that's not even enough, and don't feel bad if it's not, that's okay. We're all made different. You might put a block right underneath and come down like that. You know, we're not trying to make it comfortable like you're going to go to sleep or something, but we don't want you to have any pain. So just come into that. Take a minute to figure out the best way for you. Again, the hips are right above the knees and coming into this pose. Oh, this is nice and comfy this way. And we'll hold this for about 4 minutes. And if by any chance, or not by any chance, but if you happen to have your head just resting, going to one side, not just resting down, looking straight ahead, you might want to just move your head over because we're about halfway through so that it's resting on the other side. So that you're not putting too much on one side and neglecting the other side. So it's up to you.
So we're giving a back, kind of a back bend for the upper and the middle back, and that's what we're working on here. So we're not really stretching. We call it stressing, just putting pressure on the ligaments and the tendons in that area. They don't stretch like muscles do, as muscles do. And once again, we're going to go back into a child's pose. Kind of picked out a lot of them with the child's pose for the counter pose. So whatever your props are, you could just move them out of your way, come back down, and just go into the child's pose. And just, you can almost feel things coming back into the normal position. So it's just slowly happening. It should feel good. I'm going to start to come back up again slowly. I'm going to move the blanket out of the way here, and we're just going to go into lying down on our backs. So kind of just crawl your way up and come back down. So I'm going to lie down right here. I'm trying to explain it from here. So we're going to do the bananasana. So what we're trying to do is we're going to keep the hip right here in the same position, but we're going to just be moving the lower part of the body and the upper part of the body over to the right this time. So take your right foot, bring it out a little ways, not too far out, and take the left foot and then just cross the ankles, right, the bottom of the ankle right over the right ankle. And then just maybe move it a little bit more. If it's too much, you can bring it back over. Just notice and feel down the left side, right from your hips right down. You're moving that part of the body to the right. And now we're going to do the same thing on the upper part of the body. So we're going to try to keep our shoulders on the floor. And then I'm just going to kind of move things over to the right a little bit. And then couple of things you can do with your arms. You can either bring them behind over your head and then just rest them on the floor. If that doesn't work, a couple of things you can do. You could always put a blanket if that left arm just doesn't quite hit the floor. You could just rest it on a blanket. Or if it's just too uncomfortable, maybe it's difficult for you to get your arms to come back to the floor, you could always just bring your hands underneath your head, but just having that upper body tipped the direction of the right side. So you really feel it when you go to bring a hand down the left side of your body, all the way down, that is moving to the right. So let's just get into that position. And again, we'll hold this for a couple of minutes. And very slowly start to just come back into a straightened out position. So I'm going to just kind of move my upper body. So first of all, I'm lining that back up. And then I'm taking that left leg and just bringing it up in the air, slowly bringing it down. And I'm slowly bringing that right leg back into position. So my body now is pretty straight coming down the mat. And then for the counter pose, I'm just going to bring my knees slowly. Again, we're just going very slowly because we probably put a lot of pressure in this pose. And we're going to just hug the knees in a couple of different ways. You just hold on just like this, or if you wanted to just reach around and put your right hand on your left elbow, your left hand on the right elbow, or anything in between, wherever you want to do it. This way you're really hugging them in, and then just kind of go back and forth a little bit. That feel good? Okay. Then we're going to come back down when you get through with this. And I'm just still working slowly, bringing the legs out. And this time I'm going to take my left leg and bring it out to the left side. Take my right leg and then just bring that right underneath, almost like the Achilles tendon, bring it right over the top of the ankle and see if I can bring it out a little bit more. And the same thing with the upper body. I'm going to just move that in that direction and the direction of the left. See, because now we're working down the right side. And then arms wherever you feel it's best for you. If you want to just bring it like this and bring them over to the side. Shoulders stay on the floor. Or if you need to put a blanket underneath, go right ahead. Or even if you want to just bring your hands like this. But if you do that with your hands, make sure those shoulders have come over though, to the left side. Maybe close your eyes. And just relax into the pose. When our body and mind are relaxed, we can go more deeply into the poses. We get more benefit out of them. If we're tense and tight, then we're kind of working against the poses instead of with them. About 20 more seconds on this side. And just very slowly start to bring that right leg up in the air, bring it down. Left leg. So we're straightening out our body. And then the upper body, however you had your arms, just straighten them out, bring them, and then just kind of wiggle around so that your body is kind of nice and straightened out, okay? And then for our counter pose, just start to bend those knees, bring them in towards your chest, and then hold on however you chose to hold on. And maybe just rock back and forth a little bit. Knowing that you're really doing a favor for your body. As I said, this is not the kind of exercise we typically get. And especially as you age, our range of motion kind of is not what it used to be. And so working on this, we're helping to bring it back a little bit, and we're also keeping ourselves in much better shape. Okay, I'm going to lower down. And the next pose we're going to do is supported bridge pose. And nobody ever complains about this one. So I'll just set the props up that I have. So I have my bolster here. And I'm going to bring my blocks. Yeah, here it is. My blocks down here, just in case I need them. And then I'm going to bring the third block back here in case I need it here. So we're going to open up the hips. We're going to be working in the shoulder area. We're working in the groin area. And a lot of it is we really don't have to go into this. We don't have to put our energy into it. We're just falling into that position. It's kind of gravity pulling us. So I'm going to sit like this. And we'll have to move around a little bit just to see once we get into the position that we're in the right position. So we're going to bend our knees into the butterfly poses as we had done at the very beginning of class and bring it up like that. And you can have the blocks ready in case you need them, but we have to be careful going into the pose. We might have to come forward a little bit because we just want our shoulders coming off the bolster or the blanket, whatever you've got. You might have a blanket folded there, whatever it is. You don't want to be way, way back. You don't want the bolster way down the lower part. So I just want my shoulders to come down, off. And then because this is a very low bolster, I can just rest my head on the floor quite easily. But if you're up a little bit higher, or just the way your body goes, you might want to put the block right underneath your head. And then if you need the blocks for your legs, but if you don't need it and just want to just kind of put up with the sensation, you're probably doing yourself a favor with that too, but no pain. If there's any pain or if there's too much, you would hold this for about 5 minutes. So we will be in this position for a while. So get yourself nice and comfortable, and your shoulders just starting to come off the bolster in the back. Arms are out to the side, palms facing up, and just relaxing into this pose. You almost feel that your chest opening up when you take your nice deep inhales and exhales, the position that we're in. You might even want to rest your hand on your belly just to feel the air coming in and going out. You might feel the groin area sensation in here.
And just slowly start to bring those knees back up together. Move the blocks. And maybe just bring those knees in closer to a little bit closer to your chest. And then just start to bring them over to the right. See if how close they can come down. Keeping the shoulders back in the same position. So we're just doing it on the end with a little twist. See how close we can get them. Try to keep one stacked on top of the other knee and bringing the bottom knee in the direct down to the floor or as close to the floor as possible. We're just going to hold it here for about 10 seconds. Just ending with a little twist and come back up again. Bring it in towards your body, your knees, and then just come over to the opposite side. And coming back up again, and then we're going to go into the Shavasana, which is also the counter pose that we would do for this supported bridge that we just did. So we're going to take the bolster out. We're going to move the block out of the way. We're just going to lie back down in Shavasana, which again, just lying flat down on your back. Now, if you need something underneath your shoulders, your head, or even sometimes people like bolster or blanket or something under their thighs, go right ahead. Because we'll stay in this position for about 4 or 5 minutes. 4 minutes. We're running out of time, but we'll do it. And just get yourself in a comfortable way. And just start to relax your body. And maybe just starting with your ankles, with your feet, just relaxing the feet into the pose. And then just coming right up the body, relaxing the ankles, your legs, and just feel that part of your body relaxing. Thighs. And through the belly area, coming up through the chest, and thinking about the hands, noticing how they feel, the arms, your back, relaxing your shoulders, your neck, relaxing your jaw, your chin, your forehead, your eyes, relaxing your mind. And very slowly, just start to wiggle your fingers, your toes. But still taking our time, no hurry. Maybe bringing your knees in towards your chest and just kind of rolling over to one side and taking a few breaths there. When you're ready, just come up into a seated position. Your legs are in any position that you want, seated comfortably. Eyes closed, if that's okay with you. And just taking a few more breaths. Slowly opening your eyes. Just facing the room, coming back in to the present time right here. If you'd like to bring your hands together in front of your heart. Namaste.